Honesty makes better history. Why? The truth matters, and the truth sets us free.
A Utah family getting a rare apology from the state about an investigation into a decades-old sexual assault case. It involves a former highway patrol trooper. We were the first station to break this story for you today. And it is our top story tonight on 2 News at 5. Thanks for being with us. I'm Heidi Hatch.
I'm Mark Cabell, the head of the Department of Public Safety, now acknowledging there were problems with the 1990 investigation into that case involving Valerie Clark Miller. He's now promising to review department policies to make sure it never happens again.
Daniel Woodruff sat down with the family and explains how they got to this point. Daniel.
Well, Mark and Heidi, this story begins with a woman who came here to the Department of Public Safety decades ago to report that she had been raped by a UHP trooper back in 1968. For years, she and her family waited for some measure of accountability, some acknowledgement that this had happened. Well, today, more than 50 years after it originally occurred, they finally have that. Valerie Clark Miller isn't alive today, but if she was, her husband John believes.
I think she'd cry a little bit and she'd say thank you.
Valerie came forward in 1990, telling the Utah Department of Public Safety she'd been repeatedly raped in Cache County, starting as a 13-year-old in 1968 and lasting several years. The perpetrator, she said, was a Utah Highway Patrol trooper.
And affected her ability to recover and to live a normal life. She never did recover.
Nothing came of her report in 1990, and the trooper ended up retiring as a captain. In 2017, Valerie died from multiple sclerosis. A few years later, her husband and children decided to try once more, this time hiring a law firm and private investigator Mike Anderson.
A cover-up occurred.
What he found, Anderson tells me, was stunning.
The internal affairs investigator failed to conduct a proper investigation.
Anderson says basic investigative steps were not taken, including interviewing Valerie or visiting the places where she said the crimes occurred. He also says state public safety officials lied multiple times, including falsely claiming that Valerie's therapist said she shouldn't be believed.
It was appalling to me. These men had taken an oath to defend, not exacerbate a problem. And this was not an accidental oversight. This was an intentional cover-up.
The Miller family sent their findings to the state attorney general's office last year. The Department of Public Safety then launched an investigation and now is apologizing to the Miller family. In a letter, Commissioner Jess Anderson writes, "I have concluded that the factual allegations you raise about DPS actions in 1990 rest on a foundation of extensive and disturbing evidence, and the least I can do is to express my deep regret to the Miller family." The commissioner also promised to launch an outside review to strengthen the department's policies in dealing with allegations like this.
I think it's unprecedented.
Richard Lambert is one of the family's attorneys.
The only thing the Miller family ever wanted was an acknowledgement of responsibility and some accountability for the wrong that was done to Valerie and to the family.
Our intent was to clear Valerie's name.
John believes now, finally, they've done that.
There is hope, there is a way to bring closure, and there's a way to bring justice.
Attorneys for the Miller family say they are not going to sue the state over this or seek any money. They say the acknowledgement and the apology from the Department of Public Safety are enough. Live, Daniel Woodruff, KUTV 2 News.